Hey dudes and dudettes, Mr. Theorist here. Welcome back to another Doctor Who review. I'm here again with Stacey.
Hello.
And we'll be watching episode... 7. Yeah, it is 7. I remember looking online and yeah, it's 7. Episode 7 of season... I think this is season 11.
I really should have checked this.
Really should. I'm calling it season 11, but I'm starting to wonder whether it is or not. Of Doctor Who with... What's the Doctor's female name? I can't remember. Something with
Jodie Whittaker.
Jodie Whittaker, that's it. As she says, I really should look these kind of things up before doing these videos. And the episode is called Kerblam Man. If you watched these videos before, you understand that, yeah, I never do research before, it's really silly. But the way we work is I talk about the plot, and then ask Stacey how she felt with the episode, and then let you know how I felt about the episode. And then we go into things that we really liked. Stacey will point out little facts that I probably missed. And then we give it a rating out of 10, because why not? So, let me tell you about the plot. This episode opens up like a few of the episodes in Doctor Who have every now and again, where we're in the TARDIS with the Doctor trying to control the TARDIS to go somewhere or do something. In this case, they're trying to shake off some weird thing that keeps on following them while everyone inside the TARDIS is being shaken about. The Doctor then realises actually this thing that's chasing them is a teleporting thing. It turns out to be a space postman who essentially works for Space Amazon. That's what it is. And she is given a fez. And it hints that maybe she asked for this item herself. Maybe when she was Matt Smith, she might have asked for this fez. It's not really explained, but okay. But the main purpose of this parcel turning up is to bring the plot forward, because inside the parcel, along with the fez, is a note saying, "Help me." And they're like, okay. So, Doctor and Co., which is Ryan, Yaz, and Graham, they all decide to go to this Space Amazon and find out who sent the note. When they go there, they go undercover as workers, and they're each given a position. Graham is maintenance, Ryan and the Doctor, after the Doctor switches hers and Ryan's working bracelets. Graham?
Yeah.
Did I say Graham? Did I say Ryan?
Yeah.
Graham, should I say. Graham and hers work bracelets, because they're made to wear work bracelets. So she works with Ryan in packing, and Yaz works in picking, kind of the job I do. Yeah, and when they're in their own departments, they talk to colleagues there to try and figure out who it is that sent this "help me." They then start to realise that people are going missing, and they suspect maybe the manager and human resources, maybe they have something to do with it. Turns out, no they don't, and then they realise it's the system that's making them make these people go missing. So as the plot goes forward, they eventually get to the source of where they think all this is happening, and it turns out, no, it's not the system, but actually the system sent the message to help me, because the maintenance worker that works at Graham is actually the one that's making people disappear. He called them something like guinea pig or test subjects, didn't he? Because he's decided that because the way this company works is only 10% of the human population, or 10% of the work population are human, the rest are machines, he doesn't like that. So he's going to make an example and make sure that they stop trusting machines and automated systems by putting mini bubble wrap bombs in all the packages, and then making a massive army of the postman, space postman, to deliver them to the people of this specific planet that this company sends them to kill a bunch of customers. And that way they'll learn, and the human workforce will be the main thing that this company has. Great. But obviously the Doctor does an awesome plan of resetting it, so instead of the space postman teleporting to this planet to deliver, they just teleport onto the same spot and open the bubble wrap and explode it on themselves. The man that set this all up, the Doctor gives them a very quick chance to change his mind and to come with them. He doesn't, and then they teleport away while their whole basement gets blown up by these mini bombs. And then the Doctor goes away, making sure the company is actually going to take on more of a human workforce instead of a machine in the future. And that is the episode. Mostly. I breezed over it, so there's a short version of it. But yeah, that's the plot of this episode. Now, before I give you my thoughts, I'm going to go over to Stacey and ask what she thinks of the episode.
I really, really enjoyed this episode. I think it's very relevant to our society. As Richard said, it's basically Space Amazon, how the factory layout and how the corporation is run. I did like how at the beginning of the episode, one of the assistants said something saying that the robots look creepy, which to be fair they do, and the doctor said, don't be robophobic, and which at first you just thought, oh, that's an interesting comment, but when you think about it, because of the fact it wasn't the robots or the system that were killing people, it was actually a human that was killing people. The doctor was actually giving you a clue early on, which I found interesting. Yeah, it was an amazing episode. And though I could guess that the workers were probably dying, and I truly believe that it was the robots and the system that was killing them, or possibly converting them. But it was a very human episode, and the fact that the character that was plotting was actually a terrorist, I can understand his motivations. However, it's just, yeah, it shows, yeah, there is a line, and violence is not right ever, but the cleverness of the plan, because yes, whenever people get bubble wrap, they do pop them. Well, at least I do, anyway. Oh, and the assistants were showing their detective skills, which was good, and the doctor was amazing. Okay, so what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I thoroughly loved this episode. The last week's episode, that was the alien that ate things, wasn't it? That was the last episode we just had. Oh no, it was the India episode, no,
yes,
Pakistan episode.
Well, India and
Pakistan, yeah. Which I thought was a really solid, good episode for a different reason. Like, the reason I haven't liked some of the episodes so far, the alien episode and a couple of the others, is I was like, they're not spacey enough, and when they are, like, the monsters aren't like sci-fi-y. The monsters you thought were sci-fi-y, and this, as you pointed out, like, it was really good because the episode did the classic thing of, oh look, they are very heavily hinting that these robots are being super creepy, and they're doing this thing and they're doing that thing. It's like, okay, so we understand the way Doctor Who works is the Doctor doesn't understand that things are going on. She has a very nice way of thinking about things, like, no, don't think the robots are creepy, because don't make a judgmental opinion like that. And you're like, okay, it's Doctor being free-minded. But then we see the robots being creepy and we're like, oh, Doctor, well, you're kind of wrong. But no, it turns out, no, the robots that were doing stuff were a small amount of the robots because they were being controlled by this man. And the system was predominantly trying to use the robots to stop this terrorist from hatching his plan, which I thought was great. Like, the one thing we thought was the monster really wasn't. As far as, I always talk about how I don't like how the Doctor sometimes gets sidelined or the assistants get sidelined. No one was sidelined in this episode. Everyone had significant parts to play. Everyone felt like they were doing enough to help achieve the goals of helping save the day. It was, I was completely enthralled in the episode from beginning to end. I myself, I did find the robots creepy. The way that just kept on watching, it felt like my job a bit, because I do a similar job to this. I don't work for Amazon, I work for someone else. Some of you watching this video know, and you probably are work colleagues, hey. But yeah, like that kind of feeling of your overseer bosses kind of like looking over at you and going, excuse me, you're talking too much, get on with it. And the robot said that, and it's like, yeah, that touched home a little bit. I can't really think of a fault of this episode. I really can't. I can't think negative of this episode itself. The robot design was creepy, yet really fun. The Doctor felt like the Doctor, and the psychic paper was used, and the sonic screwdriver was used, and just everything that you was like, that's something the Doctor would do. She did in this episode. And it was fun, because the assistants aren't just, we're assistants, we don't know what's happening in the space situation. It's like, oh no, this is kind of like home, so we're going to kind of treat it like it is. Like Ryan especially, he was in his element this episode, because he was hinting that, he works for essentially Amazon in the past, and he was like, oh yeah, I know how this would work, I know how that would work. Hey, don't talk to people like that, that's not nice. And it was just so good. I was sad that they killed one of the really innocent characters. They killed 2 innocent characters in this, but it was the young girl that they killed. It was just like, whoa.
I wasn't expecting her to die.
Which grade the system themselves though, didn't it? Because even though we say the system and the robots were actually the good guys this episode, they deliberately placed the girl in an area with bubble wrap so she would blow herself up to try and deter the man from committing this atrocity of sending the bombs out to all the customers. So it was like, I can see what you're doing, but that's still pretty bad. But his plan was awful. So yeah, it was just Doctor and co that were really the good guys, because even the system was doing things that were very dodgy. And yeah, as you pointed out, some of the really fun things about the Doctor making sure people weren't prejudiced. And yeah, I bloody love this episode. Do you have anything else to add?
Okay, I like the fact they referenced to previous Doctors. That was cool. Fairs which you mentioned, and also the reference to Agatha Christie, which was David Tennant. And yeah, Ryan had some character development. He is showing more courage. He acknowledges his weaknesses, but he's trying to overcome them, which is really good. And
Yaz also, she did like a police hold, which I was like, it's a cool throwback to the fact she's actually a policewoman. Just thought it was kind of cool.
And how at the end, her requesting to send the thing to the employee's daughter, which was a nice closure to the episode.
Yeah, the reason that we began to think maybe the robots were the villains is because the first character death we get in the episode is a man who he says that he works here to basically put his girl through education, and he has a necklace, and Yaz, after he dies, Yaz finds the necklace, and in the end of the episode says, Doctor, can I have a request? I want to take this necklace to his daughter. And it's like, wow, that's really touching, because it's a character that usually in Who, like, they'll die, and then we won't really think about them. There might be a motivation for the Doctor to be a bit angry for the episode, but there's never really a throwback. This was a nice little assistance connection to that character that was really quite nice. Anything else?
Oh yeah, I like the fact that this is the second episode of this series where there's a capitalistic corporation. In this one, the capitalistic corporation isn't actually the villain, though it does show how it treats its workers, and how it caused that one worker to become a terrorist, because he felt that, 10% of humans working isn't enough. It's the whole, we don't have enough jobs, and blaming the other people.
Yes,
instead of saying, we should have some more jobs.
Yeah, it was very much touching on the subject of, they took our jobs, and in this situation, instead of just moaning about it, he decides, I'm gonna go blow up our customers. Okay, alright then.
Yeah, killing innocent people.
No, we get where you're coming from with the whole, we've got people who are willing to work for less. Hint, hint, hint. It's very topical. But just because you're annoyed about that, don't go using violence to make your point. Yeah. So, yeah. Have you got everything?
Just thinking. I did like the love interest, and it seemed so natural, and then to find out that one of the people was a terrorist, and the other one was an innocent who died.
Oh yeah, because the episode really sets up that they're super sweet.
Yeah,
because they both kind of like get socially awkward and bumble and fumble around when they're around each other, and it's like it's really sweet, and it was genuine. It wasn't fake, but it just turned out, yeah, one of them was a terrorist. Eek. So that's what we thought. Now, rating out of 10, Stacey.
I'm thinking actually about a 9. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed this one. I can't criticise it. Yes, it's not Cybermen or Daleks, but I think this is a memorable episode.
Yeah, I think I said Rosa was an 8. And nothing else has hit that 8 so far for me. I would say it's a solid 8 or an 8.5. I wouldn't quite say it's a 9, but I think I'm being a bit like, it's not one of my monsters, it's not the Daleks. Or I was convinced this was going to be, when we were watching the episode and like the humans were disappearing, I was like, they're converting them. Oh my god, this is going to be a Cybermen episode.
But we did have Cybermen last series. So it would be a little too soon.
More Daleks and Cybermen all the time. Anyway, yeah, I think Rosa was. This episode is just as good. I don't think it was better than Rosa, or maybe because it's
different.
Stiff. Yeah, that's what I mean. But do I feel it was a better episode than Rosa? Maybe actually, because everyone got. Yeah, I would say 8.5. I wouldn't go as far quite as a 9, because yeah, it's not quite perfect and it's not quite just under perfect, but it's a solid, strong episode, and 8.5 out of 10 for me, because it did a little bit more than what Rosa's episode did, where everyone had stuff to do. It wasn't like half the crew were sidelined while the rest of the crew had stuff to do. So yeah, 8.5. Not quite a 9 yet, but it's getting close. So yeah guys, that is what we think about Doctor Who, episode 7, season whichever. I'm gonna keep saying 11 until I research, which will probably be like the final episode. Yay. Of Doctor Who. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. If you have, please hit that like button. Leave a comment, tell me what you guys thought about this episode, and which of the episodes so far was your favourite, and out of 10, what would you rate this episode particularly? And as always guys, if you haven't, please subscribe to this channel. And if you have subscribed, bring a friend along and have them subscribe too. And until next video guys, I will see you later, and so is Stacey. Bye!
Bye!